In this episode of Shift Happens Catalyst Conversations, you will hear from me. You will hear solo insights from me, Silja, and today I want to talk about this just do it coaches and coaching skills. So I want to talk about these coaches who push mindset over everything, who skip emotions, maybe, I forget that people need to feel safe before any kind of transformation can happen. I'm not saying that mindset is not important. Of course, mindset is and always will be important. And I also teach this myself. Maybe even teach is like a wrong word. I also guide people through mindset shifts because I also feel that everything starts at the mind. If you change your mind, you can also start changing other things. But before this can happen, before you can even step into changing your mind, there has to be like a safe space. There has to be a container in which your emotions can be felt and in which it's okay to say everything out loud, in which it's okay to feel maybe blaming yourself, to feel all these shadow side things. It's okay to feel those. What triggered me to talk about this topic is that I have noticed that very often there are, okay, these people, these just do it mindset motivation coaches, mostly men, they have the best intentions in mind. But for me, that's not enough just to have these intentions and just to have this push kind of mindset. For me, there's always has to be some kind of safety, some kind of other layer. The thing is that coaching is not just giving somebody motivation or giving somebody advice. It's not about telling somebody to be stronger and take action and just do it, like go for it. It's like if you want to have big things, you just have to do it. It's not only about that. There's also some need for softness. And I'm not like a super soft person. I'm not holding your hand and I'm not complaining about stuff. I'm not a softie, but I still feel there needs to be space where everything can be felt, like all the shadows and the more painful sides. We all have this shadow. We all have this side. And we shouldn't be suppressing this part of ourselves because this is still part of us. So that's why I also wanted to get this part out whenever I'm coaching somebody. And it doesn't mean that I'm soft or weak. If I want people to express that, or if I, as a client, want to express this to my coach, luckily my coach listens and I can tell him these things. I can be in that soft space and he's not going to tell me like, oh my God, just get over it, like get on with it. He first holds the space and doesn't immediately give solutions and fixes. Because very often when you just want to express that side, express some kind of deep doubt, express some limitations, we don't need the solutions, especially if we are women. We don't need to be fixed. We don't need for a man to come and rescue us. We just need to let it out. This thing is out. It can already start detaching itself from us. So sometimes you just need to express some things so they are like out there, not no longer in here. And it's okay to ask for space, to let it out. If I'm really feeling that, okay, I can't do something, there are deep reasons for this. There are some limiting beliefs. And you can't tell me just to get on with it, just to get over some things. Maybe you just need to allow me to express why I can't. And you need to allow me to vent and really go deep into sadness and deep emotions. And yes, I know it can look quite ugly if a client is allowed to go into this deep sadness and emotions. And I feel that maybe these motivation coaches, these just do it pros, who are just pushing and pushing and forcing, they don't want to see that because they don't know how to handle that. Even if they are in contact with their own emotions, which many people, in fact, are, even men, these just do it guys, they're still in touch with their own emotions. But I see that very often they don't want others to express that because they don't want to take this responsibility. And that's also okay. You don't know how to handle that. But maybe, just maybe, some people need to express that in some way. And I would say that it's always about meeting people where they are at. It's not about you. It's about your client. It's not about you sounding wise. Although, people come to you as a coach, you have some specific vibe that they want to get from you. They chose your vibration, your frequency, your energy for some reason. But maybe you also need to meet them at some point, just a little bit. I'm not saying that you have to completely change yourself. No, you always will be you and yourself. But you need to first allow the other person to open up before you can go in with your, come on, just do it, girl approach. And I would say that true coaching means that you guide somebody home to themselves, not according to your standards, because everybody is different. The person that you are coaching, counseling, mentoring, he or she is different from you. So yeah, maybe you need to first allow them to be themselves, and then you can start molding them based on whatever you are teaching. Then you can start putting them into your formula of success. First, they might need some kind of different approach. Holding space, it's important. And holding space is a skill. And I truly wish that more coaches and experts, mentors, guides would do that. Hold space. What do I mean by holding space? I mean creating a safe emotional container. Emotions are okay. Even if you maybe as a coach, you don't want to face all these emotions. You don't want your clients to express all that. You don't want to receive all that. But still, you might need to create a safe space, safe container in which people know that they can tell you when they are feeling down. Even if you don't want to get all that, maybe you can still create a safe space in which they will just inform you that they went through something very tough. You don't have to solve it. No, it's not about fixing or solutions, but maybe people just need to know that you get them, that you open to everything and anything that is coming through them. Because this way they can also be vulnerable. They can feel seen, heard, understood. And this is crucial, to be seen, heard, and understood. In my life, I've very often been feeling like invisible, not seen, not heard. I don't need external validation to survive. I'm very amazing by myself. I am super independent and strong, and I do so many things alone. And yet, I like to have some human connection. I love to be seen, heard, and understood by the people that I care about, by the people that I vibe with. I want to be seen. I want to be heard and, of course, loved, understood. And I also need somebody to hold space for me. Very often, I'm holding space for myself. I'm a lot of time alone. And I am super strong. I do a lot of stuff alone, but still, if somebody can hold space for me, this is simply beautiful. And holding space means having presence, patience, and deep listening. Even if I do solve my problems on my own, I don't need your advice. I don't need to be fixed. I don't need your solution, but I just need that space sometimes. And that's why I love this deep human connection that I also have in my life, in which I had the presence, patience, and deep listening. Not in all of my connections, but in many ways, I still have them. And like I said, it's not about fixing. It's just about being with no judgment, no rush, no just do it and come on, get over it, girl. And don't let your emotions control you. Like, we can do it. I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I have that side. I have that fierce warrior side in me. But sometimes I also want somebody to hold a little bit of space, soft space, yin space. And if a man can do that, this is powerful. It doesn't make you weak if you are a man and a coach. It makes you more strong because you are in touch with your own emotions and you're not scared of other people's emotions. You don't run away if you see a small tear coming. You can handle that. And you can hold space for that woman who is crying, for example. As women, sometimes we just want to be held. Even strong women like me who do all the shit alone. I want to be held. And you don't have to say anything. You don't need to fix stuff for me. I will fix everything for myself. Don't worry. But just give me a hug. Come on. That's what I would say to many, many men. So for me, holding space has always been natural. I've always thought that this is what coaches do. When I went through my 3 Mindvalley coaching certifications as a holopody, holistic health, connects fitness, and business coach, we always started with some basics of coaching. We always went through the basics of human relationships, the basics of coaching relationships. and like listening and really receiving the person and building a connection with your client. It was super important. We didn't just talk about mindset. Yes, we talked about that too, but always in all the 3 certifications that I did, we started with the coaching basics. So first we had these introductory lessons, videos, and we also met every week. So we had like coaching labs, like 90 minutes of coaching labs and 1 hour Q&A. So we spent like 2.5, 3 hours every week actually in a classroom together. And we practiced. We practiced coaching. So usually we had 3 people in a Zoom breakout room. One was a coach, another one was the client, and the third person was the observer. And for 40 minutes, the coach coached the client, and then the observer gave feedback. And every time the rules were changing. So we didn't just talk about how to make your health better or what are the business strategies and how to consult. We talked about how to really hold that person who is trusting you with their secrets, their doubts, their fears, their desires and dreams. It's a big thing. And I feel so grateful for having had that experience. And during our studies, we also had to have like at least 20 hours of practice. So we were also practicing outside the coaching labs. We were meeting with each other and coaching each other and giving also feedback how to coach better. I feel that maybe why I'm seeing what I'm seeing, that many coaches maybe are not holding space. Maybe it's because they didn't practice when they were studying. Or maybe they didn't study at all. Because this also seems to be like a trend that I'm not saying that the life experience is not valuable. Of course, it is valuable. But it seems to be a trend that many people start coaching and guiding other people without having any formal certifications or qualifications. Not saying that the paper is the magical thing that will make you a better coach, but having that kind of container in which you practice with other people, in which you practice with other future coaches and you get feedback, you get some supervision, and you have some graduation requirements. Being in that kind of container, it teaches you so much more rather than just one day waking up and saying, I have had some transformational life experience and I'm going to coach now. Yes, your life experience is still valuable, but what about the people skills? Okay, maybe you have people skills from your job. Maybe you have something from some other container, but I still feel that something is missing in this just do it pro coaches mentality. There's some kind of piece missing. Maybe these people didn't get any live feedback. They didn't study with others who also wanted to be coaches. And yes, they had the good intentions. They want to change people's lives. They want to bring a transformation, and maybe they will. But I still feel that there is this lack of true safety, holding space, holding this emotional container. And that's why I think that it is good to have that kind of training in which you just, you go through the basics of coaching, and this way you will also become a better coach. So some of the things that I learned would be like, when I talk about the foundation, we learned how to build trust and rapport. Because when you're working with the client, it's super crucial to have the trust and have the safe. Somebody is opening up, so you have to create a safe space for them. This way they can really have a deeper transformation as well. We also learned how to set boundaries, have clear agreements, because a coaching relationship, it's still like a relationship, and you have to have some boundaries, like what do you do for your clients and what do you not do? You have to have some kind of structure and container. And it's not only to protect you, but also to protect your, and having these clear agreements set already in the beginning, I feel it's super crucial, because this way you both will get more out of this relationship. Coaching is always like a two-way relationship. In the foundational phase, you also studied how to structure the sessions, like how you start warming up the person when you start the session, how you go through the process, and also like how to follow up and how to hold them accountable for the changes that they want to make. In the later stages, we also talked about emotional management, emotional processing, but also about how to coach through thoughts, beliefs, and mind. There are so many different layers, and also how to coach through behaviors and habits, not just thoughts. There are so many different ways how to approach a person, and I feel that it's crucial to know these different layers, like the thoughts, the habits, the emotions, and how to handle all that, how to carry that load. And we also studied quite a lot of powerful communication tools, like asking powerful questions. Because coaching, it's not about giving advice. It's not about just your clients. It's not about you. It's about your client. If it's consulting, then yes, you're giving out your wisdom. But this is different from coaching. Maybe in business coaching, the boundary is a little bit more vague. The boundary is less present because in business, the coaching and consulting can blend more easily. And in consulting, you are actually giving your industry knowledge. You are giving your business experience to the other person because they want to know how to be this successful entrepreneur that they see you as. So they really want to have your expertise. But when it's coaching, like plain old coaching, you are not giving advice. You are asking the right powerful questions that can bring out from your client what answers are within your client. Your client knows the best what they need and want, and they just might need some guidance from you to get into this. So the questions really make them find these solutions. And in the end, they will do most of the talking. If you are like an amazing coach, you will mostly be listening and you allow your client to express themselves while you're holding space. Yes, deep empathetic listening, that's also a crucial skill. And we also learned some transformation techniques like habit formation, how to build habits, how it starts, how you also need to change the identity and mindset if you really want to build new habits. We also talked about zero resistance strategies. So, for example, zero resistance habits, these are the easiest things that you can do that have zero resistance. Because if you try to, just do it and just force it, you might not succeed. You might just hit the wall because the new thing that you're trying to implement, that you're trying to transform within you, it's too big for you. But if you start with zero resistance, if you start something as easy that it always has zero resistance, you can build up from that. And I'm not a softie. I'm not your soft cuddly coach, but I still talk about zero resistance habits because I want people to have lifelong transformation. I don't want them to just force and go against their own self and finally just fall back because they can't handle that pressure anymore. They can't handle this force anymore. I want people to build up, build up, build up, and get strong. And that's why I really focus on the zero resistance habits. You start easy and then you build up. You can't run a marathon if you have never run before. I finished 20 marathons. I started 25. So I know loads about running marathons. And trust me, if you have never run at all, maybe you will survive the first 5 or 10 kilometers, but after this, you will just hate everything. So it's much easier to build up gradually to get into the shape to run a marathon or to build like a new identity for yourself. And we also learn stuff like behavioral alignment and meta alignment. So these very deep patterns and things that are working in people. Because if you are working with people, you also need to know how people function. You also need to know how people work and how they're built. And that's when you can start tweaking their personalities, or you can start giving them ideas how to tweak their personalities themselves. Because in the end, your clients, your people, they are doing the work. You're just giving some insights and ideas if they ask for that. So don't give advice unless asked as well. It's not about you, it's about the client. And it's about allowing them to express the truth that is coming from within. I didn't make all this up right now. I trained, I practiced, I was coached, and I coached others before I started charging for my coaching. Now I have coached for hundreds and hundreds of hours, and I know what I'm doing, but I wouldn't be here if I didn't have this formal training, if I wasn't taught how to hold space. And I feel it's crucial to know how to hold space before you go deep. And once again, I'm not here to cuddle you, but I'm also not here to bypass your pain and just say that, okay, this doesn't exist, just do it and stop whining. Like, come on, don't be a bitch. I'm the kind of person who holds space, asks the right questions, so you can find the truth and move forward. Not just push harder, but also be aligned with yourself, be aligned with your own knowing and emotions. And this way, you can really build something solid and permanent. So why am I talking about all this and why this matters to you? So if you are a client who is looking for real support, you should find somebody who makes you feel safe and aligned. It's not about the results that the coaches promise. It's also about the personality. Does this person that you want to have as a coach, does the person make you feel safe? Does the person hold your emotions? Yes, possibly many coaches can hold you accountable, but can they hold your emotions in a safe container? Do you feel good? It's important to feel safe because this way you can have the most vulnerability, and this way you can actually have the most transformation. And vulnerability is not something to hide, it's not something to forget about. It's our strength, because if we can be really vulnerable, we can also really grow stronger. If we are in touch with our weaknesses, our shadows, we can build a very strong foundation, a very strong personality. If you are a coach, I really please ask you to invest in actual skills. Please take some courses, learn about holding space. If you don't want to do like a formal certification, please just study some kind of emotional intelligence, even, and how to handle people's emotions. You don't just need like a motivational playlist and bunch of quotes that you can design into nice social media posts on Canva. No, it's more than that. It's about holding space, like true space for your people. If you at some point, maybe as a client, have ever felt dismissed or misunderstood, know that you're not alone. I've also felt that. I have talked to people who are like, oh yeah, don't stay stuck in that mentality. Just go and do it. Just push through. Like, yeah, I'm strong. I can push through. But I also want you to see my emotions. I want you to see the places in which I'm having some doubt. I want this of me also to be seen, not dismissed, not like, just forgotten. Because if I just push it away, that part of me won't disappear. It will still be there. So I also want to express this side of me, because this way, if you are really holding this emotional container for people, this safe space, you're meeting them at the point where they are. It doesn't mean that these people are weak. They just also need to express that weaker, or that side that seems weaker. They need to express that side that looks a little bit weaker, looks more vulnerable. But it doesn't mean that these people are weak. And just remember, being a coach is not about your ego. It's about service. So if you are telling somebody to just push through it, is it your ego speaking? Or is it you really holding space for the person in front of you who has maybe taken a long time to come to you, taken a long time to get this courage to come to you, to ask for help? And if you just tell this person to, get on with it and just do it, are you really doing them justice? Are you really seeing them? Or are you just trying to motivate and push them up with your ego without actually not seeing them? Like I said, coaching is about service. So always think about the person who is standing in front of you, who is asking for help, who has mustered up this courage to come to you. Because asking for help, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. I'm talking from my own experience here. Asking for help is never easy. I feel that I'm such an independent, strong person that I rarely ask for help. And as I'm seen super independent and strong, people also assume that I don't need help, which I often don't. Still, we all have this innate longing to be seen, heard, and understood. So give people this. Give people some of this softness of being seen, heard, and understood, and see what kind of magic starts to unfold once you allow yourself as a coach to also be a little bit softer and not rush into doing, but actually also be in that moment in which the weaknesses, the shadows can come true. If you don't allow them to ever come true, they will always be somewhere underneath the surface, and they might attack you or your client at the moment when you least expect. Better let them come true right now. Let them out. And when they're out, it is also possible to detach from them. That was me in this Solo Insights episode about coaching. And if this resonates with you, hit follow, subscribe, check out the other episodes of my podcast where I talk about change and transformation with other people, other amazing coaches. And you will see so many different approaches to coaching and transformation. You will hear many amazing stories from people who have also transformed themselves. And of course, if you want a taste of what real coaching feels like, what it means to be held, but also pushed a little bit because I'm not the softy coach, then book a Clarity Catalyst call with me. You can find all the details in the description. Thank you in the next episode.